Have you ever had something fall apart that you really believed in? Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. Where you put your hope in something, it didn't pan out, and at some point you just stopped waiting for it to turn around. I'm Gabriel, and on the afternoon of the resurrection, two of Jesus' disciples know that feeling better than almost anyone. They weren't gathered with the others, they were already leaving. And this gospel is about where Jesus decided to find them. It's the same day the women went to the tomb and found it empty. Word is moving through Jerusalem that something happened, but nobody has seen Jesus, and the city is confused and tense. Two disciples are walking away from all of it, not running, just walking, heading to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. One of them is named Cleopas, the other one isn't named, and as they go, they talk through everything: the arrest, the trial, the crucifixion, the women's story about the empty tomb and angels who said Jesus was alive. They're turning it all over, trying to make some sense of it. While they're talking, a stranger falls into step beside them. It's Jesus, but their eyes are kept from recognizing him. He asks what they're discussing, and they stop. They just stand there, looking downcast. Cleopas says, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who doesn't know what's been happening these last few days?" And Jesus says, "What things?" So they tell him, Jesus of Nazareth, a powerful prophet. Their chief priests handed him over to be condemned and crucified. And then they say, the thing that really gets you: "We had hoped he was the one to redeem Israel." Past tense. That was 3 days ago now. Some women from their group went to the tomb this morning and found it empty and said they saw angels who told them he was alive. But nobody has actually seen him. Jesus listens to all of it. Then he says, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken." Was it not necessary for the Messiah to suffer these things and then enter into his glory? And starting with Moses and working through all the prophets, he explains to them everything the scriptures said about himself. The whole walk, 7 miles of it. They reach Emmaus. As the evening is coming on, Jesus makes like he is going to keep walking, but the two disciples press him. "Stay with us. It is nearly evening. The day is almost over." So he goes in with them. At the table, he takes bread, blesses it, breaks it, and hands it to them. And at that moment, their eyes are opened and they recognize him. And then he vanishes from their sight. They look at each other. Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked to us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? They do not wait until morning. They get up that same hour and walk all 7 miles back to Jerusalem. They find the 11 gathered together, and before Cleopas can even get it out, the others are already saying, "It is true, the Lord has risen and has appeared to Simon." And then Cleopas and his companion tell everything: what happened on the road, how Jesus was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. They had left walking away from Jerusalem. They came back running toward it. What gets me about this story is where Jesus finds them, not in the upper room with the other disciples, not at the tomb, on the road out of town, on the road away from Jerusalem, away from everything that was happening. They were already leaving, and that is where he went. I think a lot of us know that road. Not a literal one, but that quiet walk you take when something you really believed in stopped working out, when you prayed for something and got a no, when a friendship you invested in crumbled, when you were completely in on something, and then without making a big announcement about it, you just started checking out, showing up less, going through the motions, walking. That is where these two disciples were. They were not angry, not demanding answers. They were just done. And you hear it in 3 words. We had hoped, not we hope. We had hoped, as in that version of us that believed is gone now, and Jesus walks right into the middle of that. He does not wait for them to collect themselves and come back. He goes to where they already are, on the road they are already walking, and he just starts asking questions. Now, here is the part I keep coming back to. Something was happening the entire walk that they could not see. Their eyes were kept from recognizing him, but the fire was already there, and they only knew it after. Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us? That is them realizing in hindsight that something real was moving in them the whole time. They felt it and could not name it. Recognition came later, at the table, in the simplest possible moment. Bread taken, blessed, broken, and given. So if you are on your own road right now, if something has been stirring in you lately that you cannot quite explain, I think that is worth paying attention to. The burning tends to show up before the recognition does. You do not have to have it figured out. You do not have to be heading in the right direction yet. The fire does not wait for you to know what it is. Those two disciples walked 14 miles that day, 7 away and 7 back. And what turned them around was not an argument, it was a meal. Someone broke bread with them and their eyes opened. If this episode gave you something, the way to keep this channel going is simple. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. It genuinely matters. And I have a real question for you. Have you ever looked back at a hard season and realized something was happening that you could not see at the time? Where the fire was already there before you knew what it was? I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm Gabriel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.